Folks, Lucas Ballahud here with Coldwell Banker RMR and the Ballahud Group. Welcome back to this week's edition of Finance Fridays. And I'm joined again by the lovely Alexandra Joe with RBC. Alex, how are you today?
Hi, Luke. I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right, thanks. I'm in the office today, so a little bit of a different feel here
Me.
than the home office we usually record in. Yeah, sort
Yeah.
of out of the routine a bit, but that's a-okay with me. One of the things we were chatting about in our last call that we didn't have available to us was the July market stats from Durham. And I want to spend a couple of minutes just sort of reflecting on
hmm
what happened in June compared to this past month, and even touch on where we are so far in August. Today is August 17th. It's my mom's birthday today. So that's where we're at so far in the month, getting ready for this next, getting ready for what the rest of August is going to hold here. So, just to touch on the market, July saw a reduction in the average price of about 7%. We went from 969 on the average in June down to 901 in July.
Okay.
There were 200 fewer sales as well. They were at
hmm
900 in June, down to 700 this past month. And homes are actually taking a lot longer to sell than we've seen in the past number of years, quite considerably. When we look at the number of homes that are being sort of relisted, canceled and relisted, and then maybe selling later at a reduced price, that's probably more like 30 days plus compared to the 15 as the average days on market that they're reporting here in our region. So that's maybe not quite as accurate as the true reflection of this cancel relist activity we're seeing. But inventory is way up and prices are coming down. And that's really a lot to do with what's going on at the Bank of Canada. So there's been some changes, but the sky's not really falling. A lot of the narratives out there right now in the media are that, prices have dropped in Toronto by 50%.
hmm
But the big question you have to ask that headline is in reference to what point in time,
Right.
right? Did they drop 50% in the past month?
Yeah.
It's like, no. The peak in the market in February of 2022 was, the absolute peak, but it has not, the sky's not fallen out since then.
Right.
It was reasonable to expect it to come down, right, from that crazy time we were in. So, it's the summer season as well. Buyers are spending their time doing other things, so that's why
Yeah.
homes are taking a little longer to sell. And if they're not, showing really well, if they're not staged and photography and all the things aren't really top notch, then the home is going to sit unless it's priced, as a sort of a bargain in some buyers' minds. And that's what they're hunting for right now. They're looking for a bargain.
Well, we're feeling that on our side too. I mean, our August numbers shaped up nicely for our target, for our team here in Durham region, but it's a little bit quieter. So that pipeline of business is a little less than where we'd like it to be. But, as these interest rates have impacted things, um, we're not surprised, with the volumes that we're seeing because it has affected the market, and you've got that buyer hesitation. Do you want to buy the house, or wait till it drops a little bit? All of that. And like you said, they're just sitting a little longer. So the mortgage side of things, we'll see what happens in September because we're expecting another Bank of Canada announcement there with interest rates. And if we see another hike, then we can probably expect the average price to continue to come down a bit. But it's certainly
It's
working.
funny you say that, right? Like nobody really knows what's going to happen unless you're in the Bank of Canada, understanding what their projections are going to be,
Mhm.
whether it's going to plateau and they're going to hold the rate or if they're going to continue to raise them a little
I
bit.
know.
We've been having some discussions about, and that next announcement, September 2nd, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mhm.
But some of the discussions we've been having amongst different industry experts that we work with is sort of how do you translate a increase in interest rate to a monetary value that's going to sort of impact, the value of my home kind of thing. Trying to judge, is this a time to sell? Is this a time to buy or what have you?
Yeah.
And
And what if?
of course, yeah, and what if, right? Because we don't have a crystal ball. We don't really know what's going to happen. But I think one invaluable piece of information that I could share with people today, if they're thinking of selling their home and even of buying, because as we know, as interest rates go up, I'm going to lose borrowing power, spending power, really,
Mhm.
as those rates go. So if I have a rate hold, I want to take advantage of that as soon as possible. And like every day that passes, there's fewer buyers out there that have the budget, that bigger budget,
To get
because
into
they've,
that.
that rate hold
Yeah.
expired and they purchased, so they're
Yeah.
no longer in the market and they can no longer pay those higher prices,
Hmm.
because of their cost of borrowing. So one of the things that we've discussed, and so I jump back to that, was, for every quarter point of interest rate that rises, that can equate to something like a $15,000 reduction in borrowing power and
Right.
thus price.
Yeah.
So when I tested that theory, comparing from the June's numbers to July's, we saw a 7% reduction in the average price. We were at 969, now we're at 901 from July anyways. So for every quarter point in June, or was it July 13th was the last announcement, right? And they raised it
The
rates a whole
percent.
point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did it work with the numbers?
So based on that theory of for every quarter point is a $15,000 adjustment in price.
Hmm.
4 times 15 is $60,000. We were at 969, now we're at 901. That's pretty
Pretty
good
close, right?
indicator,
Yeah.
right? Pretty accurate that way. Not to say accurate, but it's a pretty good predictor of pretty strong one anyways, of what might happen. So if there's a quarter point or a half point increase on September 2nd, then over the next few weeks following, we should expect to see prices
15,
fall between
30.
15 and $30,000. Yeah,
Yes.
and if you're the higher price point, the theory is that it's actually, if you're over $1 million, then that reduction for every quarter point is more like $30,000. Now,
Agreed.
there's a little bit of variance to those,
Hmm.
to that rule, but it looks like that's a good guide to
Yeah.
use.
Metric.
So if someone's thinking about when do I sell, well, I mean, really, just the way interest rates are going, your home's not going to be worth more tomorrow than it is today.
Hmm.
At least for the next few years, anyways, until the market responds or bounces back. But that could that plateau in the interest rates, could be coming soon. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. We're gonna jump back on here again in September and do a reflection. In regards to interest rates, you know that when you've got a buyer, of course, you're encouraging them to get pre-approved, and we hold that rate for 112. Aren't making a move right now, if they are interested in bringing their mortgage to RBC, we can still do that rate commitment for 120 days. So it's still a great time. Like pull up your online banking or get that paper mortgage statement out and see when your maturity is, what's your interest rate, and let's review like what can or what do you want to do with it. Because even if it so now we're August, right? September, October, November, December. But if your mortgage is coming up for renewal, say in January, February, March of next year, you might want to switch it out, just, pay that small bit of interest at the end, pay it out early and get your rate locked in now. So I'm seeing a lot of clients inquire about that, and it's a great time to switch to RBC if your mortgage is elsewhere, because we do have a promotion where we're covering, if not all, the majority of the costs, which include $300 of the discharge fee with the other financial institution, your legal setup fee, that's you don't need to see a lawyer as long as you're not changing title. We do the documents in-house with First Canadian Title. That costs about $500 and we pick that up. And then the appraisal, property valuation and processing fee, $300, and that's waived. So it's about $1,100 in expenses that we're picking up for our clients that want to bring their business to RBC.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh, that's fantastic too. And I mean, that's one of the things people say, I don't want to break my mortgage or deal with those fees with
yeah.
my bank in order to move and maybe get a better
Sometimes it's
rate
worth
somewhere
it.
else or whatnot, right? And so it's great that RBC steps up and takes care of that for people.
Yeah.
Now, I guess the one thing I want to talk about that I love that we really loved doing last year, about this time of year before school starts again, we had last actually, it is the same day this year, August 31st.
Okay.
We hosted a little ice cream party. So we on our street, and we
Yes.
had a lot of our clients come out. I think we had a couple hundred people from the neighborhood, touring around, come for a little visit and have a some free ice cream. But we're going to be at Conlin Woods Park this year.
Okay.
So that's just off of it's in North Oshawa near the university.
Uh-huh.
And we'll be there for a few hours. I think it's between 4:30 and 6:30 we've got blocked off. So we'll have an ice cream truck there. And if anyone's going to come out for a little visit,
My kids,
certainly kids can entertain themselves.
my kids never say no to ice cream, so I'm bringing them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, right? Who can say no to ice cream? It's pretty tough. Unless you're lactose intolerant and it really doesn't agree with your stomach, I'd say risk it just for that one day.
I'll be
But if
there.
anybody does want to come out, certainly they should do so. And now that life is a little bit more back to normal as it was, 2019, it'd be a good time to catch up with those folks that maybe haven't had a visit in a little while. So
That's
that's
great.
what we've got going on this month, and I'm looking forward to that again because we had a great time last year.
Awesome.
So, Alex, is there anything else we should touch on today? That was my news I wanted to get off my chest, but is there anything else that we need to talk about in your
No, I
world?
think that's good. I'm looking forward to that. And the next thing you know, we're gonna have kids back in school and September's just around the corner. So
I can't wait for the kids back in school, right? It'll be a good time, get a little bit of peace and quiet again. But anyways, that's great, Alex. So, well, thank you so much for joining me today. For anybody that's
absolutely.
looking for information on how to get in touch with Alex at RBC, her contact info will be at the end of this video here, and certainly you'll find mine there as well. So feel free to like and subscribe on YouTube and on the other great social media platforms we're out there on. So thank you so much. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll be with you again soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.